Hey bakers. So I woke up this morning, brewed myself a little bit of coffee, looked over here on top of the microwave and saw these two overripe bananas, and I said, let's make some infused banana bread. First things first, make sure you've got all your ingredients. So today I've got everything laid out here, pre-measured, the sour cream and my butter that's been out for about an hour to get soft, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But you definitely want to be sure you've got everything, because nothing will suck more than getting halfway through a recipe only to realize you're missing a key ingredient or two. So we got all that. We've got our equipment as well. Today we're going to use a standard loaf pan. This one's got a decent non-stick surface on it. A large mixing bowl, spatula. You want a teaspoon measure at least. If you've got a half teaspoon as well, pull that out. A fork and a hand mixer. So we are going to start by creaming our butter with our sugar, and the recipe today is half a cup or 8 tablespoons of butter. That also equates to 4 ounces. So because I wanted to lightly infuse this, I'm going to be using mostly regular butter and just half an ounce or 1 tablespoon of my butter that I infused last week with some Pineapple Express. Really nice, and it'll just give a light infusion to the entire loaf. You could up that or leave it out entirely if you don't want an infused loaf, but that's what we're going for today. So get your butter into the mixing bowl. Remember, this needs to be room temp so it's soft and the mixer can actually cream it here. If you want, you can use a microwave, but be very, very careful, because you can't use melted butter to cream. You need a nice, soft room temperature butter. Now we've got the wrapper from our butter. We can go ahead and just run it inside our loaf pan here, just to be sure it's going to release nice and well for us. So we've got that. I've already preheated my oven to 350, and so that's getting ready over there. It's already ready. Nice. Well, let's get it into the oven. So got your butter. To that, you're going to add 1 cup of sugar. And we're going to cream this for about 2 minutes. So just as a helper, I'm going to set my microwave timer for 2 minutes, and we'll go ahead and start to cream this. Medium is fine. I just want to get the butter nicely incorporated, and since we're using part cannabis butter, we want to be extra sure everything is nice and evenly distributed, so we don't have any pieces of our final loaf of banana bread that are going to be a little too strong, potentially. And the reason you want to cream butter with sugar is it's part of the leavening of your loaf. And by that I mean it's going to help your loaf rise up really nicely, because you're incorporating air in this process, but you don't want to overdo it, because then you'll end up with a loaf that is tough or just not as light and have a nice crumb like you're looking for. So it's getting nice and mixed in there. And we got about 30 seconds left. There's our timer. Go ahead and cancel that. And now we're going to add in 2 eggs and our vanilla. So first egg goes in, second egg goes in, and the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. And give that a mix for about a minute, and go ahead and give the bowl a good scrape. Get everything off the sides and the bottom there. Now you can use your big stand mixer if you want, if you've got one, but I think that's kind of overkill for a recipe like banana bread. One more decent mix. We're gonna add 1.5 cups of flour. And what I think will be the easiest, because you don't want to overmix this. It's kind of like muffins, where if you overmix, you're going to end up with a tougher end product. You want to try to preserve as much of that aeration that we just performed with the butter and the eggs and the sugar and the vanilla. So into the bowl that my eggs were in, I'm going to put 1.5 cups of flour. So have my flour in the bowl. To that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, my butter was unsalted. If you have used salted butter, you can probably reduce that salt to 1/2 teaspoon. And then just use your fork. Go ahead and gently mix everything together and dump all of that into your mixing bowl with the butter mix. Turn your mixer on low. Just work that dry ingredient right into the wet ingredient, and once you start to see it pretty much suck up all of the dry into the wet, you can stop. A good scrape of the side of the bowl, the bottom of the bowl. All right, and if you do start doing that, just know if it's cannabis that might start to hit you in about an hour. All right, get your beaters fairly clean. I'm gonna save those as an extra treat for myself. Tread carefully with that. Now we are going to take our sour cream, and I've pre-measured out 1/2 cup, and into that you want approximately 1 cup of mashed banana. A little bit more is no big deal. If you're only using 1 banana, you're not going to get anywhere near the banana flavor you're probably looking for in a banana bread, but 2 medium-sized bananas is usually what I aim for. All right, and then take your fork again and just mash those bananas right into your sour cream. And if you have a masher, you can use that. I've found that this works just fine, but you do need to mash the bananas pretty well to be sure you get a nice even distribution of that banana flavor throughout your bread. So, just drop that all in there like that. Through spatula. Fold and mix. And believe it or not, we're basically done. At this point, you can add chocolate chips, nuts, both if you want. I like walnuts and pecans, but I don't have any of those today. So, see that? We got a nice homogeneous mix there. Scrape your spat. And I'm gonna add a full cup of chocolate chips because I've been eating off this bag. And, oops, lost a couple of them. Just fold those chocolate chips in And then everything into your greased pan here. Don't have to be super spread out because the heat of the oven will take care of that last little bit. And into the oven it goes for about an hour. Pretty easy, right? That tastes so good. So our banana bread was in the oven for exactly 1 hour at 350 degrees. I pulled it out and let it cool in the pan on this rack for another couple hours. I just released it. You can see how clean a release that was. And we ended up with a really nice banana bread, nice exterior browning all around. So now I want to cut into it, but before I do, I want to let you know I did weigh the entire loaf. It's 36.7 ounces, and I did that so that I can more accurately dose a piece for individuals that care about that. But as you remember, we only used 1 tablespoon total of canna butter, which is approximately 70 milligrams of THC. So even if I ate a tenth of this loaf right now, I should only medicate myself by about 7 milligrams. So that's great. Really nice amount if you're just starting your day with a little bit of coffee. So let's cut it open and see how we did. I'm going to cut it right down the middle. This is also good if you want to eat half of it now and freeze the rest. Chocolate chips could have been distributed probably a little bit better, but they tend to sink. One way you can get around that, which I didn't do in the video, is just coat them in a little bit of flour before you toss them into the batter at the end, or fold them in, and you'll get them distributed a little bit nicer. But I don't care about that, and I'm going to go for about 1/5 of this. Now, it won't be exact. The only way to get exact, of course, is to weigh it, but looks really nice texture, or crumb as they call it in baking. You can see there, that is beautiful, moist, freaking good. All right, well, the recipe's online, cookwithcannabis.com. Please feel free to subscribe here on YouTube as well, and I'll be sure to get new recipes up every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks, y'all. Take care.